Available now. Link below.
Brace yourselves, America. The president has just crossed a line in the sand that should send shockwaves through every home in this great nation. In a display of unrestrained malice, Joe Biden has accused MAGA Republicans of plotting to murder millions of Americans. Yes, you heard that right. The man who claims to champion unity and healing has now stooped to a new low, painting his political rivals as bloodthirsty killers. But the insanity doesn't stop there. When confronted about these baseless accusations, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre fumbled and floundered, attempting to gaslight the American people with unconvincing deflections. This is the state of our leadership, folks. A president who spews vicious lies and a press secretary who twists the truth beyond recognition. But we won't be fooled. Stay tuned for this eye-opening special report that exposes the depths of the deception emanating directly from the White House. And just like how President Biden's relying on lies and misinformation to push his agenda, America is currently relying entirely on foreign countries for our nickel supply. Nickel, a critical metal used in countless industries and vital for our future energy storage needs, is being mined in Indonesia using environmentally destructive methods, with China heavily investing in its pollution production. However, one U.S. company, Alaska Energy Metals, is poised to change that. With the largest domestic nickel deposit and a commitment to responsible mining, they are our best shot at breaking free from foreign dependence. To learn more about how you can support American critical metals independence, visit alaskaenergymetals.com or just tap more below this video. Now let's get back to our special report. In a stunning display of political theater, President Joe Biden has once again taken to the stage to demonize his opponents with baseless accusations and inflammatory rhetoric. During a recent speech, he claimed that his predecessor, Donald Trump, and his MAGA supporters want to terminate the Affordable Care Act, effectively, quote, killing millions of Americans by stripping them of their health care insurance and essential services like home care. Now, this is not the first time that Biden has resorted to such divisive language to vilify those who disagree with him. Since taking office, he has consistently portrayed his political rivals as a threat to the very fabric of American society, stoking fear and anger among his supporters. But this latest outburst takes things to a whole new level, essentially accusing Republicans of plotting mass murder. Watch.
My predecessor and his MAGA friends want to, I love the phrase, the language they use, they want to terminate the Affordable Care Act. Terminate. Well, guess what? Killing millions of Americans, take them off of health care insurance, and stripping others of services like home care. Folks.
Wow. It's a shocking and deeply troubling accusation, one that should be met with widespread condemnation from all sides of the political spectrum. But instead, we have a complicit media that seems all too willing to overlook Biden's dangerous rhetoric, just as they did throughout his time in the White House. Even more disturbing is a response from Biden's own press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, who has proven herself to be utterly incapable of handling even the most basic questions from reporters. When confronted about Biden's comments by Fox News' Jackie Heinrich, Jean-Pierre simply deflected and dismissed the concerns, claiming that Heinrich was taking the most extreme evaluation of what the president said. But there's nothing extreme about asking whether the president of the United States truly believes that his political opponents want to kill millions of Americans. It's a straightforward question that deserves a straightforward answer. Instead, we got more of the same old tired talking points and evasions that become the hallmark of this administration. The reality is that Biden's comments are not only deeply divisive and offensive, but they are also completely untethered from reality. Republicans have long advocated for market-based solutions to healthcare reform, arguing that increased competition and choice will lead to lower costs and better outcomes for patients. On Truth Social, President Trump responded to the false accusations. Take a look.
I'm not running to terminate the ACA, as crooked Joe Biden says all over the place. I'm running to close the border, stop inflation, make our economy great, strengthen our military, and make the ACA, or Obamacare as it's sometimes known, much better, stronger, and far less expensive, because it's much too expensive now and it's not very good. We're going to make it much better, much stronger. In other words, make the ACA much, much better and far less money cost to the people. We don't want people paying the kind of numbers that they're being forced to pay. It's ridiculous. To our great American citizens who have been decimated by Biden, his record, his inflation, his bad economy, Afghanistan catastrophe, and just about everything else, we're going to make the ACA much better than it is right now and much less expensive for you. Crooked Joe Biden is by far the worst president in the history of the United States. You're going to go to the best president in the history of the United States, me.
While reasonable people can disagree about the best approach to fixing our broken healthcare system, it's utterly absurd to suggest that anyone wants to intentionally harm or kill millions of Americans. But this is the kind of rhetoric that Biden and his allies have been peddling for years now. They painted conservatives as heartless monsters who want to take away people's health care, starve children, and pollute the environment. They've accused Republicans of being racist, sexist, and xenophobes, all while claiming to be the party of tolerance and inclusion. It's a cynical and dangerous game, one that threatens to tear our country apart at the seams, and it's a game that Biden and his administration seem all willing to play, even as they claim to be the ones who are trying to bring things together. Now let's take a look at how KJP took it apart.
Did the president mean to essentially accuse Republicans of murder? I mean, the language that he was using to describe opposition to the Affordable Care Act, the quote was, they want to terminate the Affordable Care Act. Terminate, well, guess what? Killing millions of Americans. Does he think that Republicans are trying to kill Americans?
I think you're taking the most extreme definition or extreme evaluation of what the president said. Here's the reality. The Affordable Care Act, which obviously started in the Obama-Biden administration, the president expanded on that, making sure that people have affordable health care. That saves lives. It does. It is important. It is, but you're taking what he said to the most extreme part of your definition or your realization. I know, but let's be really clear. Let's be really clear. People having health care is important. It saves lives. It is important to have that. The fact that this president was able to expand that is important, right?
The sad truth is that Biden's presidency has been a disaster from day one. He's presided over a string of crises, from the botched withdrawal in Afghanistan to the ongoing surge of illegal immigration at the southern border. He pushed for trillions of dollars in new spending, even as inflation soars to record highs and working families struggle to make ends meet. And he's pursued a radical social agenda that seeks to undermine our most basic values and institutions. Through it all, he's had the backing of a compliant media that seems more interested in pushing a narrative than holding him accountable. They've downplayed his gaffes, ignored his lies, and acted as though his every utterance is the gospel truth. But the American people are starting to see through the charade. They're tired of the constant demonizing and division, tired of being told that they're the problem when they dare to question the wisdom of their leaders. They're looking for someone who will tell them the truth even when it's hard, and who will fight for their interests, not just the interests of the political elite. And that's where Donald Trump comes in. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Trump has always been a fighter, someone who's willing to take on the establishment and speak truth to power. He's not afraid to call out the lies and hypocrisy of the left, and he's not afraid to stand up for the forgotten men and women of this country. So as we look ahead to 2024, it's clear that Trump represents the best hope for the brighter future of America. He's the one candidate who can unite the country around a positive vision for change, who can get our economy back on track and restore our standing on the world stage. And he's the one candidate who will never back down in the face of the left's lies and intimidation tactics. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, the stage is set for a battle that will determine the very soul of our nation. On one side, we have a president who traffics in lies and division, who sees his political opponents as enemies to be destroyed rather than fellow Americans to be engaged. On the other side, we have a movement that believes in the power of truth, that knows that our country is stronger when we stand together, not when we tear each other apart. Trump 2024 is more than just a political campaign. It's a chance to reject the politics of hate and fear, to embrace a vision of America that celebrates our diversity and our shared values. It's a chance to show the world that we are still the land of the free and the home of the brave, and the choice is clear. The time is now, so let's take back our country.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.